Hollywood has been ignoring the obvious solution to their remake problem for a long time, but it might actually be Anakin Skywalker that shows them the truth. Hi y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. As of the time of this video's recording, we are officially coming up on the 20th anniversary since the release of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which means that some theater chains are actually re-releasing the film for its 20th anniversary, putting it back on the big screen for the first time in 20 years. Now naturally, it being Star Wars and arguably the best film of the prequel trilogy, movie tickets to this one are selling like hotcakes. In fact, it's expected to have a $25 to $30 million box office weekend. Ticket pre-sales are already nearing $4 million, so a $30 million weekend sounds like it might be really doable, especially considering all the Star Wars fans out there that are gonna want to go experience this again, and folks like myself who were too young to watch the prequels in theaters, and quite frankly, I am so tempted to go all out and cosplay for this one. Now I want to get down to brass tacks here, because $25 to $30 million as a box office opening weekend might not sound fantastic if this was an all-new film. A company like Disney being able to rake in $25 to $30 million on just re-releasing a film that they already own, and if Disney had made the prequels, a film that they already made. All you're really spending is a little bit of money in marketing and money on distribution to the movie theaters, and that's pretty much it. And you could be raking in, as a studio, an extra $30 million or more while the film is out re-released in theaters. And that is literally competing actively with films that are new releases. People are willing to spend that kind of money to go watch something they likely have already seen once in theaters, or maybe even more times, probably already own, have streamed, have watched on cable television. I mean, this is now a 20-year-old film. Do you know how many opportunities there are to watch Revenge of the Sith in 20 years? I'm sure you do. I think we're all equal parts busy and forgetful. Like when I manage to forget half of the groceries I need at the store when I go without a list, or when I'm so busy with videos or photo shoots that I literally forget to eat lunch. And that's where today's sponsor, DoorDash, comes in. With DoorDash, you've got delivery from your neighborhood at your fingertips. Whether it's that thing you forgot at the convenience store, the boozy drinks you forgot to get for that backyard barbecue, the one ingredient you needed to cook tonight's meal, or if you're just craving your I was too lazy to meal prep this week lunch, they've got you covered. DoorDash isn't just delivery, DoorDash is your door to more. I usually try to prep a quick lunch between writing and recording, but sometimes I just don't want to eat fish sticks 3 times a week. So DoorDash makes it easy. I just look for whatever I'm craving, I order, and I wait. DoorDash isn't just a door to groceries, local food delivery, or grabbing flowers or alcohol. It's your door to a nice gesture for someone special, to getting your time back, to getting a drink without leaving the house, to trying that new pizza joint that just opened up, and actually that reminds me, it's about that time. DoorDash is your door to more. Download the DoorDash app to get almost anything delivered and use code SNARKY50 to get 50% off up to $10 on your first order of $15 or more. Limited time offer. And yet you're probably, if you're watching this right now, either in possession of tickets to go watch this re-release in theaters, or you're already on your way to see it. Anyway, when I read this, $25 to $30 million, when I had looked at recent family content releases, it really blew me away how much money there is out there when it comes to re-releases versus how much money people are willing to spend for, I don't know, soulless remakes. It's interesting to note that this year makes 20 years since Revenge of the Sith, and it also makes 10 years since The Force Awakens, and only one of those is getting an in-theater re-release. Go figure. Now, when we look at the fact that our darling Disney could be looking forward to a $30 million domestic payday just for re-releasing this movie that they didn't even make because they didn't make the prequels, it stands to reason that re-releasing classic or beloved films in theaters theaters could actually be a really good way to make money. I would argue it's a way better way to make money than remaking classics that nobody asked for. Allow me to present to you the domestic box office opening weekend numbers for Snow White. Yes, another Disney release this year. Disney's live-action Snow White remake has been an absolute flop in a number of ways that we've already talked about ad nauseum on this channel. And in its opening weekend, domestically, it only raked in $42 million. Now, this film is destined to lose Disney a load of money, but you look at the fact that they likely spent $500 million between production, reshoots, all kinds of other things to rake in $42 million on the opening weekend domestically. That is $500 million to rake in $42 million on an opening weekend, gain bad reviews, and essentially have the fans lose faith in your company. Or you re-release something that's admittedly pretty well reviewed, $30 million. Boom. Now, this might only be a temporary solution to the lack of originality problem in Hollywood. Realistically, if you were to ask me, how could I solve this remake, reboot crisis? I would suggest hiring people with talent to write things. Gee, I mean, if we're getting crazy, right, developing original ideas would be something I would suggest. Both of those could be things that could happen. But regardless, we've already seen that Hollywood has very little intentions of being creative ever again. They continuously do either legacy sequels, reboots / remakes for the modern audience, and we're gonna get into that in just a minute, or they do these soulless live-action remakes, which it seems Disney is finally realizing maybe is not the key to making money, because they didn't really make much money on Mufasa, the sequel to The Lion King, which made a ton of money, and they also are losing big time on Snow White, and the Little Mermaid live-action remake was also a loss for them, so maybe 3 strikes, you're out for the live-action remake thing. But if we want to look at 2024, which I think could potentially go down in history as one of the worst years for film to ever happen, if we look at the back end of 2024, we have The Crow. The Crow, the reboot / remake that literally nobody asked for, the one that people found fundamentally disrespectful to the legacy of Brandon Lee, the young star of the original The Crow who lost his life as a result of the filming of that movie. And I have to acknowledge my own bias that The Crow happens to be my favorite movie of all time. I've made several videos about it. If you want to watch a really good one, I actually interviewed somebody who wrote a fantastic book about the film's production. You can check that out. The Crow reboot / remake, even in terms of the regular moviegoer that isn't attached to the original The Crow in a pretty much unhealthy way as I am, it was an objectively bad film. And yet, in the spring of that year, when they re-released The Crow for the 30th anniversary of the film, there was not one theater that was empty. They released it 2 showings on one day, $5 tickets, and every single seat was sold. I know they just re-released Interstellar a few months ago, and I saw the seat charts were packed for that one as well. I think that what Hollywood needs to learn is that most of our beloved films are beloved for several reasons, and we're not sitting here thinking, man, you know what would be great if you remade this or continued it in a way that really like sucked the soul out of what I loved about it. See, because there's too much quality in what I liked before. I'd like for it to be sanitized, neutered, watered down, and then remade for a vocal minority that's gonna bitch about everything but ultimately doesn't buy movie tickets. That's really what I want out of a movie. Forget any nuance. We need really strong messaging. Everything needs to be a vehicle for an agenda. I don't want entertainment, I want messaging. Said no one ever. So if we can't get Hollywood to recognize, like, hey, maybe we should hire people that are good at movies, that have ideas, original ideas. There has to be original ideas out there somewhere. You can't tell me, like, yeah, every good movie that's ever gonna be made has just been made. I know somebody has an idea for the next, like, Shawshank Redemption. There has to be something left to tell. And it's not going back and looking at scripts of old shit. and finding out ways to bastardize them. No, you want to start a dialogue about The Crow, re-release the original. Do anything but make a reboot slash remake, whatever the you want to call it. That was the worst. Look at how much money, because that's what it's about, right? It's about money. We have these old properties that are sitting here basically collecting dust. We have nothing to do with them. Put out the old one. It's cheaper to put it out. Remaster it if you want. I'm sure they can remaster films. Remaster it, and then do a full advertising campaign to get the youths that would have gone to see the, wow, God, I really aged myself with that one. Make a full-scale advertising campaign to get like the 20-somethings that wouldn't have known anything about Gladiator or Beetlejuice or whatever because everybody's just looking at TikTok now. Put it back out there. Make it look like it's new and get people reinterested in the good shit. You don't have to bastardize the old stuff that we already liked, because then all you get is complaints and you get people that start to hate Lionsgate and all these other production companies and studios. Now we just get petty and we get resentful and we get loathsome. And petty, resentful, and loathsome people are really not the kind of people you want to try to sell movies to. I would know because I am petty, resentful, and loathsome about so many things, and I'm probably the least cooperative person I know for that exact reason. Don't you guys just love it when I let you into my psyche a little bit? Bundle up, it's cold and weird in there. Anyway, all this is to say that I think companies like Disney and big studios out there would do really well to try testing more re-releases of their already old and successful films. There are a lot of people that I think really would love to go re-watch a film that they haven't seen in 15, 20, 30 years on the big screen. I think there are a lot of people that would also appreciate getting to watch these films on the big screen for the first time. Like, I had never seen The Crow on the big screen because it came out in 1994 and I wasn't even born until 2000, and I didn't watch the film for the first time until 2011. So 13 years after that, seeing it on the big screen, 30 years after it was released, meant a lot to me. And if you told me, hey, we're gonna re-release, I don't know, Silence of the Lambs, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Inglourious Basterds, which I was too young to watch in theaters and is still relatively new, I'd start buying movie tickets again. Stop making garbage. Anyway, whatever. I was just thinking about this because I really can't believe that Revenge of the Sith is going to make Disney $30 million based on a domestic opening weekend for a re-release. That is absolutely insane and a very lucrative business. If I was Disney, I would start pulling out all the classics and just putting them in theaters. Stop spending billions of dollars on bloated budgets for films that nobody wants to watch. Here's the plan. You re-release the classics. You make the money from that. You put that money towards hiring people that are talented. Those talented people produce good quality movies. You finish the movies, you put them out, profit. It's a cycle. We can make it all work. I want you all to know that I have just single-handedly fixed Hollywood. You're welcome. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram. And if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below. And let me know what movie you think deserves a theatrical re-release in the comments below.